Welcome everyone, Costini here with a discussion about Elspeth von Draken in Total War Warhammer 3, Immortal Empires and Realms of Chaos, Thrones of Decay patch 5.0. I have a campaign here with Elspeth in Realms of Chaos because I wanted to unlock all her faction mechanics, which can take some time, so I just wanted to do it quickly. It has taken a long time over here, turn 99. I've effectively won this campaign, I just need to fight the final battle. So in ROC you do get a final battle, and that's how you win. In Immortal Empires you do have those, objectives, take 70 settlements, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you do have a battle, which interestingly enough is about dealing with the Nemesis Crown. I think unrelated to the Nemesis Crown that you find in the campaign map in Immortal Empires. But we'll see about that. Some interesting quest battles over here. She has one for her item, so she does get the quest battle for her item at rank 15. It's a pretty rough one, gotta admit. Can be pretty difficult against Chaos and Demons of Chaos. So Warriors, Chaos, Demons, and Chaos. Pretty tricky one. But she's pretty strong. Regardless, I would not necessarily recommend this campaign in Realms of Chaos unless you really just want to see her mechanics, because her climate situation is not great for Realms of Chaos. It's not so much of a problem, and I'll get into why it's not so much of a problem in Immortal Empires. But yeah, in ROC you only have the Empire, which is a decent portion of the map, but once you're done with that, you're going to have difficulty expanding. So at that point, you just stop giving a damn. I mean, fighting in Chaos Wars is certainly brutal in ROC, because three factions very close to each other. That's pretty brutal, but all the same. So let me talk about Nuln, because this is going to be important for an Elspeth campaign. You do start with Nuln. It's the only thing you start with in both Immortal Empires and Realms of Chaos. Now, Nuln has two landmarks. So you still have the Nuln Gunnery Skull, but it's been changed. Previously, you could get things like Hellstorm rocket batteries and cannons at tier 3 for it, if I'm not mistaken. That's been removed. You can't recruit units anymore from that, which is a bit sad, because you need to get a separate recruitment building. I understand why they would want to remove Hellstorms from tier 3, but I think like the landmark here should have allowed you to recruit some artillery units. It's still a landmark, it's still expensive, so I understand why they nerfed it, because it would have given her a lot of power to get things like Hellstorms to just spam them. Because Nuln is built around the idea that you're not just going to rush it, right? Because you either have to screw yourself over in terms of Imperial authority, now in terms of fealty as Karl Franz, which you probably will. My odd first causes bellies going against Nuln if I'm doing anything as Karl Franz. And as Gelt, I'm certainly conquering Nuln. But yeah, there's a reason for it. I just feel like there should have been some recruitment options here. But you have various artillery benefits, recruit rank, upkeep, schematics, which is her unique campaign resource. And you unlock the Emperor's Wrath Electric Count State Troopers. Now, Steam Tank, Electric Count, and faster replenishment, all well and good, but Steam Tank is very expensive. And personally, I would just rather recruit more units for other armies. That's my perspective on that. At tier 5, you increase the replenishment time, you get higher recruit rank, more schematics, all that. Not necessarily the most exciting landmark. It certainly helps, absolutely. The upkeep in particular that you do have does certainly help. The recruit rank, recruitment cost, all that, all armies, absolutely powerful, but yeah. Then you have the Black Rose Chapter House, and at tier 3, the Black Rose Tables, which allows you to recruit Knights of the Black Rose, so recruit rank, recruitment cost, and then higher level you get Iron Resolve, which prevents entities from dying as long as their HP is greater than 50% per use. So gives various benefits to Knights of the Black Rose, recruit rank, recruit cost, local recruitment duration, because these guys do take 2 turns by default, if I'm not mistaken. And then 5% upkeep for Reichsguard Knights of the Blazing Sun. All cavalry units, basically. So all cavalry units can be recruited faster with that. And yeah, it's 3 turns with Knights of the Black Rose. So our Knights of the Blazing Sun, just gonna point out. Which does pair nicely with Talabheim, because Talabheim kind of has the same benefit, just obviously affecting Knights of the Blazing Sun as opposed to Knights of the Black Rose. And Talabheim and Nuln are pretty close together in both Immortal Empires and certainly in ROC. You'll probably want to conquer. Actually, you will be conquering Talabheim very quickly in Realms of Chaos, because Talabheim doesn't exist in Realms of Chaos as a faction. It's controlled by ogres. And then there's vampires over here that you're supposed to deal with. So you start a war with ogres, you have some vampires to tackle in ROC. So that's what's changed for Nuln over there. Let me talk about her unique faction mechanics. Faction-wise, she gets access to Imperial Gunnery Skull, research rate, minus 15% upkeep for gunnery units, and double experience gain for artillery and cavalry units. She also has access to Gardens of Morn. Let's start with that. So Gardens of Morn, more can be put, you can have up to 5 of them. You can destroy them. So from this particular menu, you can deconstruct the Garden of Morn that you've built. So you can just do that instantly, but you do have a cap of 5. What do these do? And why are these very, very significant? So you can put them in any settlement, any Imperial faction controls. It does not matter where they are. So for instance here, Asland, who I beat the crap out of, then got a peace agreement. They control Fortress Straken, Kislev. And I've checked it in Immortal Empires. Like, you can put one under Gelt's territory. You just need vision. You don't need an alliance, you just need vision. That can be tricky, but all the same. So if I want to construct one here, and then I go over here, I can teleport Elspeth with a 5-turn cooldown to any of these. There's a 5-turn construction cooldown, there's a 5-turn teleportation cooldown, and what do you do in a Garden of More? Well, you can fast travel, you get immunity to diplomatic penalties from trespassing, you get replenishment of foreign territory, and if she is present, you get minus 50% Garden of More fast travel. And there's also a garrison that gets provided of halberdiers in this particular settlement. Then you can construct one of 3 buildings. So I'd say this is more like Pyrocoves, but just really for the Empire. Well, in terms of like how many structures there are, if you will. It's not like an Undercity situation. And I'm pretty sure they conflict with that, so it's going to be interesting with Changeling. You get the Amethyst College, so you can recruit Amethyst Wizards, and +2 hero capacity for Battle Wizards with this. Now remember, there's only 5, so you get 10 hero capacity. You have one by default, so you can get 11 Battle Wizards for this. Like 11 Battle Wizard capacity, that's pretty damn strong. You can only recruit Amethyst Wizards, so Death Magic from this, but still, pretty sweet. The other building allows you to get Knights of More, Electrocount State Trooper recruitment, and reduces mercenary replenishment cost for Knights of More. So, not Knights of the Black Rose, Knights of More over there. And then you can get the Militia of More, so you get minus 25% upkeep, global recruitment duration for armies in region, and global recruitment capacity faction-wide. Jeez, that's powerful. And you get things, you get Halberdiers, Imperial Knights, Mortars, Knights of the Black Rose, and Handgunners. That is pretty damn strong, gotta admit, especially a Handgunner and Knights of the Black Rose. So keep in mind, they do take 2 turns to recruit. So that's what you get through the Gardens of More. But crucially, the most important thing is that you can put these under any Imperial faction territory, as long as you're not at war with them. And I know for a fact it works with Gelt, not sure about Volkmar or Marcus Wolfhard. So I haven't been able to get that far. But because you get so many heroes, you could just build mages and send one to Volkmar, one to Marcus Wolfhard, and test out if that works out. Most likely it does. If it doesn't, it's probably oversight by Creative Assembly. It does work for Gelt. So you can play as Elspeth in Immortal Empires and go into your own cafe and adventure. Or just go up to beat up Gelt if you really want to. So that's what Gardens would do. Not necessarily the most exciting campaign, but it's campaign mechanic, but it's basically Oxyotle's Sanctum mechanic, just adapted for that. Then you have the Imperial Gunnery Skull. And this is basically a Claw's Lab, just adapted. Everything that you unlock here is from Imperial Armory or Amethyst Armory is unlocked with schematics that you gain from battles. The way this works is you have gunnery units in an army, you fight a battle, you get some schematics. Then you have a post-battle option if you either have gunpowder units yourself or fighting against gunpowder units, that you can gain some more schematics. The first one, the one that gives you experience for your units, that gives extra schematics. There's some pretty expensive things. So for instance, I didn't unlock this one and it's like 5,700. So let me explain how this works. You start with different tiers and you have to complete objectives just like with Claw's Lab to unlock the next tier. So tier 1, you gotta get a Firearms Academy. You gotta get free gunpowder units, get free gunnery school upgrades. So pretty easy to do. Tier 2, get a Foundry, so tier 3 artillery building. Kill 1,500 enemies, so it's pretty easy. You don't have to really go out of your way to do it. So, like, kill 1,000 enemies, battle with Amethyst units. Not really hard. Tier 4 is a bit of annoyance because you need to get the Nuln gunnery skull, so you need to get a tier 5 landmark. But that's really the only thing. And each of these tiers unlocks different things. So tier 1 gives you tier 2 upgrades for gunnery skulls. Tier 1 gives you that. Tier 2 gives you Amethyst Ironside, Outriders, an army ability that you can get. And yeah, so that's going to work. And it's going to give you extra money as well for unlocking this. Now, in the Imperial Armor, you can upgrade all the basic units that you have, and the Amethyst units, which are her own unique units. So you can upgrade Gunnery Infantry, and it affects all Gunnery Infantry, Missile Strength, Ammunition, Reload Time Reduction, Exploding Ammunition. Outriders, so all Outrider units, and War Wagons, regular War Wagons, so Speed, Strider, Resock, Disoriented Effect. A lot of the things here are cheap. Mortar units, Explosion, Snipe, Stock, Dazed, Cannons, Monstrous Impacts, Missile Strength, Grape Shot ability. So you do have Grape Shot. You have it in Malachi's campaign for cannons. You have it in Elspeth's campaign for Great Cannon units. So Grape Shot will annihilate infantry, whereas cannons regularly are an anti-large unit. This makes it an anti-infantry unit, which means that you have a reason to always have cannons in your army, because Hellstorms are really powerful, don't get me wrong. Artillery unit's really good, but cannons will get the job done. Hellblaster volley guns and steam tanks with volley guns. Yeah, you get speed, Wayfarer, cannot run, removed from Hellblaster units, interesting enough. Suppressive Flyer, Projectile Pierce. Hellstorm rocket batteries just get more rockets. So one additional rocket, the ammunition's the same, and it even gets increased. So that just means how many projectiles get fired, but you have as many shots for them. Steam tanks, more power, so acceleration, mass, speed, exploding ammunition, emergency repair, so replenishment over there if HP are less than 50%. Land ships, though interestingly enough, land ships are a tier 4 unit in terms of recruitment, but they're put here at the end as if they're the highest tier unit. They're not. They're easier to recruit than steam tanks, but in this tree, land ships are going to be considered like the highest tier for whatever reason. They get melee damage and reflection, missile block chance plus 30% for land ship units, and landmine for all land ship units. So this affects Amethyst, Regiment Renown. Then in the Amethyst Armory, you get all the Amethyst units. Now, let me explain something about the Amethyst units very quickly. You're not, if you look at these guys, they're not, I can't show you the stats here, but they're not by default necessarily stronger units. They're a bit more powerful, but think of like the Grudge Seller units that Dwarves now have with 5.0. So they either get more armor for like the Amethyst Ironsides versus regular Ironsides, but that's roughly about it. The real power of these units comes from all the upgrades you can get. These are expensive, so you get melee attack, melee defense, 15 armor, missile resistance, soul blight attacks, iron resolve, right? Outriders. These are Outriders with grenade launchers. Amethyst Outriders. So they get Murderous Charge, Stock, Unspottable, Terror, Leadership, Missile Explosion Radius. Amethyst Hellstorm rocket batteries, range, ammunition, reload time reduction, double the damage of rocket vortexes. So they all have like special death magic effects, and they get last rites. Land ships, you get Doom and Darkness, so leadership debuff, cannonball, armor piercing, and homing for land ship units, Spear Leech ability. Like the Amethyst land ship has exactly the same stats as far as I know as the regular one. No change there, but it's just like all these abilities. Now what you do here is you can buff these units. You can also get these army abilities. So Bombard, Barrage, Purple Eclipse. That's what you do. Like you can spend here, or you can spend in upgrades, and you can also purchase Amethyst units. Now, the way Amethyst units work is you spend schematics to upgrade them, to unlock them, to purchase them. Then you can recruit them globally through a pool. But this does cost money. So it's not free units. You don't just spend schematics. You actually have to spend gold on these guys. they're pretty damn strong, I'm not gonna lie, on that subject. So you get some really, really good stuff over here. I bet the Hellstorms are gonna be really sweet. Like, all these units are better than default ones, just very slightly by default, but the upgrades certainly make them significantly stronger. So that's her second unique campaign mechanic that does add a lot of flavor. So you do have a lot more flexibility on the battlefield, because like just being able to recruit these units globally is absolutely significant. Though, bear in mind, they're not cheap. Don't expect to just get cheap here, but keep in mind they're still going to be cheaper than a lot of the global recruitment options. And certainly cheaper than recruiting in climate with wasteland, with uninhabitable. So you can use that to just like spawn an army. Like you can teleport Elspeth to a province and recruit a bunch of amethyst units. However, you can only have 5 per army, so you can't just recruit an entire stack of units. But between Electrocount State Troopers, Regiments Renown, and 5 Amethyst units, yeah, you can recruit Doom stacks the moment you arrive in an enemy province. So just be aware of the power. And remember, you also have the Gardens of More, which also give you further recruitment. So remember that particular aspect. Speaking about recruitment, let me just cover research very quickly for her. So what's unique in her research tree is that she gets the Dark Lady of Nuln, so she can have a +3 Amethyst unit capacity. She can reduce purchase cost for Amethyst artillery charges. She gets more schematics per battle to all armies. She gets a reduction in Garden More travel cost, and she gains vision of all non-hostile Imperial factions. That does sound powerful. In terms of Electrocount State Troopers, she works like Gelt, though she can't print money like Gelt. So if you want to unlock State Troopers, you have to go here. It's the same cost for all of them, so 7,500 for all these different types. Personally, I'm not sure State Troopers really matter that much for her, if I'm honest. Well, the mortars are obviously useful, and so is the cavalry to some extent, but really, I'd probably get the spears because, like, yeah, Eldred's guards are pretty good because they're very durable because of their higher level of armor. And I would certainly get the mortars over here because, like, not having friendly fire is useful. But marksman, when you get the iron sights, amethyst iron sights, probably not that important. Carberg greatswords, yeah, sure, but you're gonna kill a lot of shit before it even reaches your line, so... like, to give you an idea, her army, I was playing campaign in Immortal Empires, I'll even show the battle later on. I was playing campaign and I encountered Vlad's army. Now, I thought I could defeat it, but I didn't just defeat Vlad, I obliterated Vlad. I posted a screenshot of the result. Like, I took minimal casualties in that. Let me tell you, in all my experience in playing against Vlad, I've never encountered that situation, ever. Not against his principal army, without that army having been wiped out. Typically, when you get an easy win against Vlad, it happens because his main army died, so he's recruited a bunch of trash. He's lost Isabella and Lad. No, he had Isabella. He had his initial vampire, and I still obliterated him with her. And not with this kind of army, just to be clear, an early game army. So I'm going to show that battle. And certainly not with all these lovely upgrades. Though certainly with some from the Gunnery School. So she's very much the Ikka of the Empire, which is not really a bad thing. Well, bit of Ikka, bit of Oxyatl, so yeah, I'll go with it. Looks awesome. In terms of that. Now, beyond that, she has her special effects, her personal effects. As in terms of her Lord effects, she gets immunity to vampire attrition, though I think that might be immunity to all attrition, though there might be something from Gotrek and Felix. I'm not quite sure, really, if there's anything there. But regardless, I was going through cast corruption, I was not taking attrition damage, not quite sure why. It might be a skill line from a lord, something like that, from a hero, but anyway. Or maybe this is bugged. She gets a -20% cooldown for Lord of Death magic, and she gets the Dark Walker ability. This is a thing to understand about Elspeth. She's a caster lord, but she's actually really good in a fight. She gets 40% physical resistance. She's got various banners here that give things like flaming attacks, regeneration, vigor loss reduction. These are banners, burning head, so you can assign these to heroes or herself. She doesn't have a melee skill line, but Catherine wishes she was half as strong in melee as Elspeth is, because no joke. She reduces battle healing cap. Vlad is going to have a really, really bad day with this. Who do you think this is aimed at? Who's exactly starting near Elspeth that has a lot of healing? Oh yeah, Vlad. This helps a lot. Though you might be killing Vlad so quickly that he won't even trigger his healing. Winds of Magic cost, benefits, and Winds of Magic power reserve for Lore of Death, of course. Recruitment cost for gunnery units, all armies. Hero capacity to engineers. Minus 10% upkeep for gunnery units. Cooldown for Darkwalker and Living Darkness, so it improves it. So you get a passive ability. No, you get a passive ability of physical resistance and negates magical weapons. You get regeneration. Yeah, she's just laughing at Vlad at this point. I mean, she's basically got his ability, just weaker. But if you fight Elspeth, don't expect her to just knock her out quickly. She gets a significant benefit. So for the Purple Sun of Xerius, and yeah, she has a Lore of Death magic ability. Then she has a legendary hero in terms of Theodore Bruckner. There's a legendary hero of Nurgle. There's a legendary hero of Ingargrim Ironfist for the dwarves, and there's all the chieftains that Tamarkan has. I wouldn't necessarily call those legendary heroes, I guess you could. Fyodor, it's interesting to think about his model. So when he's off-foot, he looks like this, but when he's mounted on his demigryph, Reaper, nice name, when he's mounted on it, he gains a helmet and he gains a lance, so just worth pointing out. He gets Titan Hitsman, so reduces melee defense and speed of an enemy as a hex. He gets Sundering Attack, so resolving armor, Frenzy. This guy can go in a duel with Vlad and possibly win, or really give him a hard time, and then your gunner units kill Vlad. You can reduce leadership, gain 15% weapon strength. You get 50 armor piercing damage, reduce cooldown for the ability, ward save, wound recovery time, casualty replenishment for himself. So you can throw him in the middle of battle, take a lot of damage, and he'll recover pretty quickly. He gives weapon strength and terror for demigryphs. So you might actually want to attach him to Karl Franz if you're playing with him. Once you confederate Karl Franz. Like, Elspeth, by the way, confederates the Empire for regular diplomacy, so you might just want to conquer a lot of the Electric Counts yourself, just pointing it out. You get Unbreakable, Executioner, so he will execute units in combat below 20% HP, and he has Perfect Vigor. Then an entire melee skill line that goes all the way into Heroic Killing Blow, so Deadly Onslaught, Heroic Killing Blow. Like, just the hero squad I have here would be able to obliterate a lot of things. Okay. That's about Elspeth. Let's talk about the new additions in terms of units, lords, and all that. So, let's start with the Master Engineer. So, he's an Engineer Lord. We all know what that's gonna look like. Now, you can get the same traits, so Noble, all that. He gets the following choices in terms of skill line. So, he's a ranged Gunpowder Lord. He gets the Mechanical Steed and even the Steam Tank as a mount option. In terms of the Steam Tank, just to look at that requires level 20. Mechanical Steed is rank 13. You won't be running around with a bunch of Steam Tanks. Let me just put that. But hey, free Steam Tank, right? Once you get to rank 20. He's got some decent stats in melee, but he's not really a melee fighter. Like, obviously on the Steam Tank it does help. If we look at one just by default over here, Master Engineer, he's not really that great in melee. He has a grenade launcher. This is a ranged lord. Don't get him in melee. You might think he'll do well. He won't do quite as well. Keep him in range. He can tank some damage, especially like with that Steam Tank, but still. You got the choice between cartography innovations and Pigeon Bomb. So what do these give? So Pigeon Bomb is an ability that does damage. Black Powder Discipline will increase his damage that he's doing, or rather his accuracy and reload skill when he's not moving. He gets armor, physical resistance. He gets dazed and explosive damage, and you also upgrade grenade launchers to Firebomb grenade launcher on himself. But innovations give him campaign movement range, line of sight, restock benefit, casualty replenishment for artillery, crucially ballistic calibration, which is really useful for artillery units, and ballistics instructor. Personally, I think that innovations is better than the Pigeon Bomb. Like, yes, this would buff his damage by quite a bit, and don't underestimate how powerful ranged lords and heroes are, but because they can be quite a bit powerful here. You can get a research rate, and global and local recruitment duration for Empire or machine units. That's pretty damn powerful. For his own army, sadly enough, it's not going to be stacking faction-wide. As for the engineer hero that you do get with this patch, so he's like a dwarf engineer, just some things. He doesn't have ballistic calibration, though that's a choice for dwarves, remember that. He actually has deadly onslaught for melee, so whatever. This is not a melee fighter, to be clear. He's decent. You get restock. You get Master of Ballistics, so accuracy reload skill, so that I guess that's replacing ballistic calibration if we can consider that particular situation, because like ballistic calibration is giving that reload skill. But you get Master of Ballistics, so accuracy reload skill. You get Vanguard, Deployment, and Strider for war machine units. Landships are pretty solid close up. Missile strength for an army, black powder discipline, so accuracy reload skill for himself, mercurial shot, so fire damage, powerful explosion, and then finally he gets ammunition benefits over here, so swappable ammunition. That's the engineer. What about the new units that Elspeth has? Well, let me just show you those units by default over here in the unit and spell browser. You can check this out, by the way, in your own campaign. So Hochland long rifles are just basically Jezzails for the Empire. 32 entities. They have snipe, they have armor piercing damage, they could do quite a bit of damage with a very long range. So yeah, Jezzails for the Empire. More reliable maybe than Jezzails. Null Ironsides are just basically handgunners, just upgraded in virtually every way, especially in armor, so they're more survivable, they do more damage. These are both tier 3 units, so you recruit. So the way you recruit these guys is you get a gunnery skull to tier 3, and you get both Hochland long rifles and Null Ironsides. That's how you recruit those units. Regiment Renown Hochland long rifles, just a better version that has black powder discipline, so when they're not moving, they get accuracy and reload skill. That's essentially the difference, and just obviously better stats in general. But yeah, that's your Regiment Renown right there with them. Regiment Renown, 2nd Regiment Renown, Grundle's Defenders, Spearmen. These guys are interesting because Eldred's Guards are better flat out in melee, but here's the thing. These guys are good at protecting our artillery crews because they'll give them physical resistance. So if you're fighting opponents and you know they have flying units, fast movers, and you want the Regiment Renown to protect them, these guys will serve that particular purpose because of the benefits they have. Though you could argue Eldred's Guards are better, but it's like they're going to increase their survivability of those artillery or war machine units. Or you could just put them next to a steam tank that's charging into the enemy line and give them that physical resistance. Whatever you choose. Knights of the Black Rose, anti-infantry cavalry, melee cavalry, decent enough in terms of a prolonged fight. Basically, your questing knights. They're worse than questing knights, but you can recruit them at tier 3 without too much hassle and certainly without the issues that Bretonnia has. So they're just kind of a worse version than Bretonnia, but that makes sense. Bretonnia should have the best cavalry in the freaking game for a reason, because they do have the best cavalry in the universe. But yeah, Knights of the Black Rose, they're just a slightly worse version than Questing Knights, kind of fulfill the same purpose. These guys are good in sieges, tight quarters, when charging benefits, like just cycle charging is not necessarily as useful. For other that, you have plenty of cavalry already available in an Empire campaign that you can get access to, right? And you can certainly get a lot of Knights and more in an Empire campaign if you, just want that. Or Knights of the Blazing Sun, or Reichsguard, whatever, all right? Pros and cons with both of these, right? What the difference between Reichsguard and Knights of the Blazing Sun. Like, Reichsguard, better at surviving, though Knights of the Blazing Sun can do more damage, especially because flaming attacks, right? Okay. Then we have to talk about like the landship and the steam tank with the volley gun. So steam tank with the volley gun is a steam tank. Same damn thing, right? It's just the gun that's changed. Otherwise, it's the same thing. Lower range, but far more damage because it's got the Hellblaster volley gun on the damn thing. Landship is a tier 4 unit. You recruit it at tier 4. It's not tier 5. If we compare it, it's cheaper than the steam tank. It's less durable, far less durable than the steam tank, but it's still a damn powerful thing. You got an explosion when you abandon ship. You got full power, so it can move faster. It's unbreakable. It can do a good amount of damage. I mean, steam tanks are going to do better in battle, but don't underestimate the land ship. Crucially, because the land ship, like, it's not necessarily reflected in the stats, but the land ship has all those gunners around it, right? So this is the thing that kind of annoys me about thunder barges. Is like, you look at the stats of a thunder barge, for instance, and it's not necessarily going to reflect the actual power there. So like here, like land ships have those gunners, so they can be useful in that. But then again, a Hellblaster volley gun is probably going to be an infantry lawnmower. Though kind of with a land ship, you kind of get both the combinations. Regardless, that's how the land ships are. In terms of the Regiment Renowned version, very, very similar in a lot of ways. You just get slightly better stats and an extra effect. So you get Encourage over there. Like if you see at the bottom, you get Encourage, you get Terror. Well, I think you get Terror by... No, it's just Fear. So you get Siege Attacker on it. You get Siege Attacker on it, and yeah, you get Encourage as well for the regiment right now. But pretty much the same unit. That's fine. That's certainly fine. Like the Wonder of the Age is certainly fine as it is. In terms of the Amethyst units, Amethyst Ironsides versus regular Ironsides, just more survivability, better stats all around, but effectively the same damn unit. Not really. Well, also the Fear, right? So don't ignore that. That particular ability. In terms of Amethyst Outriders versus Grenade Launchers, just better stats all around in general, and Fear. Like that's gonna be defining, all of this. Amethyst Hellstorm Rocket Battery versus regular Rocket Battery. Not really necessarily a significant difference. Like, okay, it says that it's doing less damage, but that's not really reflective of how it's doing. So you get 3 shots per volley. You also get 3 shots per volley. What's the difference? Like, what does that... Okay, so armor piercing 25, reload time reduction. Is damage over 10 seconds. Okay. Yeah, so... Not quite sure why it's showing that, because I can tell you that this is doing more damage, far more damage. It might just be the magical attacks. But still, like, this unit is significantly stronger. Just point that out. Oh, it's the accuracy. I get it. The accuracy. The damn accuracy. It's just not really reflected. Thanks, EA. Would be nice to have a better stat screen, I'm not gonna lie. So you get better accuracy with this. Might be less damage, but realistically, you're probably gonna do more damage, especially with the Amethyst upgrades. Amethyst Landship, exact same freaking unit, except like obviously Terror versus Fear. But outside of that, same unit. It's the upgrade, the unique Amethyst upgrades that make that unit for the shop. How do I feel about all of this? Well, I think I'll be honest in saying this without really giving a review, but of the campaigns that are in the DLC, in some ways I'm actually interested in Elspeth the least. Partly because, we did get those major reworks for Karl Franz and Geld, so that makes me eager to play those campaigns a bit more. And I don't like Elspeth's design, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the goth girl, it's like, it's not selling it to me, I'm sorry. Like, I look at Malachai's design or Tamarkan's design, and it's like, that's cool. This, it's like,
Amethyst
and her voice, like, I get it, it fits, I'm not gonna dispute that, it works, but just, like, not really exciting. Like, there's a lot of power in this campaign, undeniably so. There's not a bad design, just it's not necessarily selling it to me. Maybe the problem is not really her campaign or anything of how she looks or anything like that. It's just I've played a lot of campaigns in the freaking Empire area, and I'm sick and tired of it. It's not a great area, and she starts there. And if I want to play a campaign in Cafe, I can play Geld. So I could eventually teleport to there. Maybe that's just my perspective on that. Maybe I'm just not excited anymore about playing another Empire campaign in the freaking Empire, right? Like, the Empire is a mess of a campaign area. We can talk about Tamarkan's situation, we can talk about Malachai's situation, but I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff. Just final thing that I should mention about Fyodor Bruckner. How do you unlock him? It's a bit annoying. you have to get a livery, not too bad. Then you have to score like, what is it, 1,000 kills with cavalry. So like, yeah, like you get the livery, and then where's the other one? Because I'm pretty damn certain. By the way, quest battles for Karl Franz do exist over here, so CA did actually think this damn thing through. So it's not like they just. So yeah, you gotta get 1,000 kills with melee cavalry or demigriff unit. Not too bad, really, not too bad, but requiring me to get the stables when I can already recruit cavalry through other ways in this campaign. Keep in mind, obviously, he's available to everyone, I think, pretty sure. But I haven't played other campaigns with the DLC enabled because I couldn't show it until the embargo expired. But it's a bit annoying. But then again, like, it's annoying to get the livery. It's not annoying to get the kills because there's easy ways of getting cavalry, right? But that's the thing. Why do I care about the structure? I don't need the structure. I can get a lot of cavalry units in an Empire campaign right now without getting the freaking livery. Like, I would get it eventually for demigriffs, like once I get to tier 4, right? But outside of that, would I bother with it? Maybe at tier 3 to get some Knights of the Blazing Sun, but in one settlement, still not a priority. Because regiments renown, because Electrocount State Troopers exist. So why the hell would I give a damn? Anyway, that's what I think. That's her campaign. Certainly a powerful lord. Not gonna dispute that. Just possibly my least favorite of the bunch. Still, do I think her campaign is worth playing? Do I need to remind people where the Empire has been for the last 2 years almost, or for the last half decade? Yeah, in the gutter. Like, I'm gonna say it, the Empire's been one of the worst freaking races for a very long time. If all I'm saying is that this is the least exciting campaign of a DLC that has Malachi and Tamarkan, that is not a bad place to be overall. So that's all I have to say. I'll do a full review when I can on the subject, but still. Costin signing out.